Welcome. I'd like to call the April 5th Common Council Agenda meeting to order. It is 6 o'clock and would like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilwoman West.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will be taking off my mask because we do have sneeze guards, and I am vaccinated, by the way, so
How'd you handle that?
not well yesterday, but we're through it, piece of cake. And happy Dingus Day, so anybody that's following us in the meeting would like to share any sausage and kraut availabilities later this evening to carry out, would be appreciated, and you can do that live on Facebook. Mr. Otis, you'll be monitoring any messages. Roll call, Clerk Treasurer Parthun.
Okay, Councilwoman West.
Here.
Councilwoman Konechny.
Present.
Councilman Frankie.
Present.
Councilwoman Ficus. Councilman Vincent.
Here.
Councilman Galloway.
Here.
Councilwoman Cutler.
Present.
6 present, 1 absent.
May I also say an amazing job by Adam Konechny working the microphone and the background for us. Thank you, great job. To get everybody locally and afar together. Well, now I spoke too soon. Petitions and comments of citizens, both live here and via Facebook or YouTube. We do have 2 comments in-house here. Lisa Pierzakowski, if regarding the American Rescue Plan, if you could come to the mic and state your name and address.
Lisa Pierzakowski. I'm here as a Center Township trustee, so 1700 Lincoln Way Place, Suite 6. And hopefully everybody received packets from Courtney about what I'm here for. Did everybody get those?
I don't know.
No? Okay.
I have not.
I have a few I can hand out then. I got 6 of them here, so. It was an email that I had sent to you and Tom.
I'm sorry, Lisa. Yeah.
No, that would have been to me, so I apologize. I should have made sure that went out. My apologies, but I knew you were bringing, and we do have time.
I don't need it if I have the email.
So basically, in the packet, it talks about emails that I had received from Paige Sanson from Baker Tilly. And in the packets also is the spreadsheet that she sent on what the townships would be receiving. So basically what it is the American Rescue Plan. The township trustees, the townships were supposed to receive money also, but before the bill was signed, they pulled the trustees out and gave the money to the cities and the counties instead. So what Paige recommended was that we go in front of the city council and county council. So I went in front of the county council a week ago, and they said as soon as they have the money to come back and request, and then I'm doing the same thing with the city council. So I was supposed to receive $700,000, and I am requesting 200 from the county and 200 from the city. So I'm not even requesting my full 700,000. I'm just requesting the 400,000. With that, we would be using the money for the township, basically. I'm looking at purchasing possibly a trailer, and I don't know if anybody gets the South Bend Tribune, but in there was a trailer where the gentleman over in, not Napanee, but the Middlebury, is making a trailer with showers and also laundry facilities in there. And that is something I would like to purchase for the township because we do not have a homeless shelter here in LaPorte. And so we do not have any place for people to take showers or do laundry. So I would like to purchase that. Also, we have a tanker that's over 20 years old, so for the fire department. And then I'm looking at purchasing a building for the township. And with that building, I would like the township offices to be on the bottom and transitional housing to be upstairs. I spend quite a bit of money in hotels. Like right now, I had a lady, a 78-year-old lady that's been living in her car for 2 years. We were finally able to get her into my office, and first thing I did is put her into a hotel for a week while we get her some housing. So I'm working with Swanson Path program, but I spend quite a bit of money on hotels because we do not have a shelter in LaPorte. So again, I'm asking for $200,000 from the city, and I'm asking for $200,000 from the county. And basically, the way I'm looking at it is the trustees' money, the township money went in with the city and with the county, so I'm not really taking away, I'm just taking back what I should have received in the first place. And the reason why I'm here is because I'm 85% of the city of LaPorte and then rural, so that's why, that's how it was broke down. So, but again, I'm not asking for the full $700,000, I'm only asking for $400,000 between the two.
Questions for Ms. Pierzakowski? Thank you, Lisa. And I would just like to say, the monies, the funds, obviously nothing's been decided. The federal government requirements are still coming out. We're learning more and more every day. But the one thing we know, we don't have to spend the money in a hurry. We will receive it within 60 days or so, but we do have time to make sure that we have a complete plan and hopefully use these funds to leverage other dollars, other funds. We also know there's an infrastructure plan coming. We know there's also residential housing support or rental housing support for tenants. And so there's a lot still that could be coming, and we'll see also how the state of Indiana pass through, is a pass through for some of these dollars, and if they'll have any requirements as well. So we're still waiting and expect to hear more.
You don't get all of it up front, though, correct?
Half of it will be in the first 60 days, and half of it will be next year, and have to be spent by 2024. So we still have time. And obviously, we've had a lot of interest from different organizations that are interested in these funds as well. Adam, also, Paul Vincent said he's somewhat unstable on his connection, so nothing you can do about that, but just as an FYI. Brian Cager, unofficial cruise night. Anybody online?
Real quick side note, I'm sorry, Brian Cager, 406 Easton Street, LaPorte. A real quick side note, thank you, city council members and mayor, for cleaning up the city. I really appreciate it, like, to tear down these non-maintenance properties and get these non-law following landlords back under rule of some type. I honestly appreciate it. Anyways, unofficial cruise night. So here's a flyer from 1994. This is how long I've been involved in promoting unofficial cruise night in LaPorte. Obviously, for a while, LaPorte sponsored cruise night. So for a few of you that don't know, maybe, City of LaPorte requests from the state to shut down Lincoln Way and J Street, so which means we put up detour signs outside the city, and all traffic is detoured away from the city for about 3 hours on official cruise night. So when the city sponsors it. The city sets up barricades, the county or state sets up the detour signs outside the city. And then at the fairgrounds, we have age, make, models, such and such restrictions. Personally, I dislike official cruise night, because official cruise night means basically J Street and Lincoln Way are shut down for 2.5 to 3 hours, and about a handful of cars, whether it's 200 or 300, whatever it might be, because the car show is never very successful. People come for the cruise of LaPorte. That's what they come for. So when it's official cruise night, those 200 or 300 cars that leave the fairgrounds, they make one lap, basically, and then we're detoured back down K Street to get back to J Street, and they're making the second lap. By the third lap, most of those old cars, because of age, make, model, and such, all the requirements, are overheating. They start dispersing, parking, and now the town's shut down for the next hour and a half for like 7 cars. I mean, this is all over exaggerated, right? But it's the truth. Unofficial cruise night, the difference is the city has no extra responsibilities as far as setting up barricades, paying for extra police. Now, those extra police are paid for by the fee at the fairgrounds on official cruise night. So the city doesn't really endure any cost. but it is extra setup, extra salary, extra this, extra that, blah, 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 blah. So, with unofficial cruise night, there's no make, model, year. If it's a submarine and it's got wheels on it, it's street legal, I want to see it. If it's a $60,000 Skyjack 4x4, which I'm not really into, but I still want to see it. Just like my buddy who happens to have a Lamborghini from Porte County, he's not allowed in official cruise night because it's too new, okay? We don't get to see Lamborghinis very often. Even this past Saturday, there was 2 Ferraris uptown. We don't get to see Ferraris that often. That's the added benefit of unofficial cruise night. So this is not only for this year, but this is for every year beyond this. Official cruise night brings people into this town for maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Unofficial cruise night brings people into this town spending money at restaurants, Frosty, Dairy Queen, every bar, every restaurant in the city of LaPorte for about 4 hours on the first Saturday of the month, all summer long. So the city actually gets a financial gain much more than it is from official cruise night, which to me is added benefit. There's a lot of things that obviously I left out of here, but the one thing I would like the city's involvement in, which is keeping people safe. The longest 2 stretches on Lincoln Way are between Madison Street and J Street. There's only 1 stoplight. That's where everyone clowns around. Every old person with a muscle car, or every younger person with a new Dodge Charger, or especially Mustang drivers, that's where they clown around. So put an extra few cops uptown and write tickets all night long. I'm all in favor of it, and most people are as well, because they're only up there for cruising and enjoying the automobile. So if the city wants revenue, extra revenue, I have no problem. Literally have a cop sit at Madison Street in front of the old hospital, and have another one sitting at the Amoco BP gas station. Literally. You know, white Mustang. When he gets up there, have him walk out, pull him over. I'm all in favor of it. So that's the 2 things I wanted to point out. Also, LaPorte's been a cruise town since probably the 1950s or before. Obviously, LaPorte's always been a cruise town. So I'd like to keep it that way, as a cruise town, and with unofficial cruise nights. And also, I'd like to thank the few officers that were uptown last July 4th at the courthouse holding American flag all night. So that was awesome. Thank you.
And any questions for Mr. Cager? I would like also to say that please call Chief Breton directly about this and say about the officers needed. And then I do think he also did say, I think I heard the words Frosty Top or Frosty Boy. Just for the record, you did say those terms, which is somewhat old, when you were talking about the restaurants when you spoke.
Oh, no, about,
I heard Frosty Boy. There's no more Frosty Boy.
what's the ice cream?
Tasty Cream.
Oh, Tasty Cream. Yeah, you're right.
I wish you had
Well,
Frosty Boy.
I'm kind of old a little bit too, but okay.
Any other comments for Mr. Cager? Thank you. We will move on now. Do I have approval of minutes? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
They might need to be changed to official, unofficial cruise night, but, I'm all for it. Love it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Frankie. If we can, we'll come right back to that. We do have a motion and a second on the approval of minutes. Any other discussion pertinent to this? All in favor state by saying aye.
Sorry,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Mr. Frankie, your thoughts on unofficial cruise night?
yeah, I apologize, I was having trouble hearing you, but, yeah, I certainly love unofficial cruise night, but seems with this amount of planning, the name might need to be changed to the official cruise night.
Thank you.
Anyway, that's all I think.
Standing committee reports. Councilman Galloway.
Police Merit Commission meets a week from tomorrow, the 13th, 2 o'clock at Laporte Police Department. And I think the Veterans is going to get a meeting this month, or that's what I heard. They didn't set a date yet. That's what I heard. That's all I got.
Councilwoman Cutler.
The Business Improvement District Board will meet this Monday, April 12th at 5 p.m. And the Urban Enterprise Association Board met in March, and the board discussed partnering with Northwest Health. I'm sorry?
If we could ask anybody that's on Zoom to make sure they mute their mics. Thank you.
Anyway, the board discussed partnering with Northwest Health for a quiet zone study regarding the train whistle blowing through the city limits, and also discussed was a sidewalk improvement program for the Lincoln School District, as the sidewalks over in that area are in very poor condition. So this month's UEA meeting will meet Wednesday, April 21st at 4 p.m. That's it.
Councilwoman West.
Nothing to report at this time.
Councilwoman Konechny.
The Historic Preservation Commission last met on March 16th at 5:30 in council chambers. The main item of discussion was the draft of the Indiana Landmarks Residential and Commercial Designs Guidelines, particularly those items that could be subject to staff approval in lieu of waiting until the next commission for review and approval. This will help expedite the decision-making process for needed repairs. The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, April 20th in council chambers at 5:30. The Tree Commission last met on Thursday, March 18th at 5 p.m. in council chambers. The commission discussed in detail the city's tree inventory, many species that are needed to have more of the commission's upcoming annual Arbor Day tree giveaway. It is scheduled for Saturday, May 1st, 2021, rain or shine. It'll begin at 8 a.m. and it will commence once supplies are gone. The location is at Kessling Park. Please use the 18th Street entrance. The species available are Sherman oak, Kentucky coffee tree, tulip tree, American plum, and redbud. Visitors are asked to wear masks and practice social distancing, and there will be a limit of number of trees per visitor. The next meeting for the Tree Commission will be held Thursday, April 15th at 5 p.m. in council chambers. The Traffic Commission, the next meeting for the Traffic Commission was originally scheduled for tomorrow, April 6th, but it's been moved to Tuesday, April 13th at 6 p.m. to accommodate all those out of town this week. This meeting will take place at the Laporte Police Department. The Airport Authority, the next meeting for the Airport Authority is scheduled for Wednesday, April 14th at 5:15 p.m. Still undecided if it'll be exclusively Zoom or in person.
Councilman Frankie.
Needs to be unmuted.
My apologies, I forgot to unmute. So the Diversity and Inclusion Committee met on the 25th, and a student from LPHS showcased the new mural that was painted in the high school. The piece features African-American leaders who have paved the way for diversity and inclusion. Elijah Fleming from LPHS came and addressed the committee and did a really great job with that. April is Autism Awareness Month on the diversity calendar, and I thought I'd share a little information on autism. Autism's risen from 1 in 125 children in 2010 to 1 in 54 in 2020. And autism is characterized by persistent differences in communication, interpersonal relationships, and social interaction across different environments. What this can look like, it can be nonverbal or having atypical speech patterns, and autism is also characterized by restricted and repetitive behavior patterns, activities, and interests, such as like repeating sounds or phrases. But there's definitely been a rise in autism, whether it's a rise in cases or just a rise in noted cases. That is to be determined, but it's something that people should be aware of and educate themselves on. The Redevelopment Commission met Wednesday, the 31st, last week, and A resolution was passed to consolidate economic development areas for the Town Square Economic Development Area, Central Business District Economic Development Area, Eastgate Economic Development Area, and the Thomas Rose Economic Development Area. A resolution to approve additional appropriations for TIF 1, 2, and 4, including funding for things like the Rural King parking lot, Falls Spec Building, and the Newport Landing NIPSCO project was passed. Flaherty and Collins was approved to be paid their 7th distribution, and a pledge agreement was made between the UEA and RDC, which entails roughly 50% of the hospital dollars that are paid into the UEA to be transferred to RDC for bond payment use on other future projects. Authorization was given to the president of the RDC to sign up on the Kensington closing, which is exciting news. There is not a date, but it appears we're nearing the finish line. And basically, it sounds like we're just waiting on the lease agreement to be finalized between Kensington and their tenant, and we should have it very close soon. And then finally, the school board meets on April 12th at 6 p.m. at the Educational Resources Center.
Councilman Vincent?
Yeah, I've got nothing to add. Hopefully you can hear me now.
Thank you. Before we move to the annual redevelopment commission report, I'd also like to state, Councilwoman Cutler mentioned the quiet zone, and Tom Casey as well as Laura are leading the charge on that, and that's something that's been requested by many businesses, residents, throughout having that quiet zone. And we're fortunate to have a partner in that in Northwest Health, but that's very exciting for the city of LaPorte. So leading into that, and Mr. Casey might want to mention something about that. We'll call on you for the annual redevelopment commission report.
Thank you, Mayor. We have recently signed the contract for the quiet zone. That work should start in about a week. The process will take approximately 4 to 6 months to get that completed, and those recommendations will be presented to the council once we have those. That's being done by a company called Patrick Engineering. Now on to the annual redevelopment commission report. A lot of really good projects in 2020. The 3 most significant are as follows. In TIF 4, which is the Town Square development area, the commission approved incentives for the redevelopment of Maple Lane Mall, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. This building was vacant, the mall was vacant, portions of the mall were vacant since 2017. Rural King purchased the entire mall, completed major renovations to the interior and exterior, including a brand new store that they've just recently opened. They expect approximately 3,000 people daily through that store. So that's going to have a significant impact on that whole region, or that whole neighborhood. The second one would be in TIF 1, the Central Business District. As we all know about the Flaherty and Collins project, this included incentives for the construction of a $35 million mixed-use development, 200 higher-end apartments, along with 5,000 square feet of retail space. This is under construction right now, and will have definitely a major impact on the Clear Lake subdivision area, so the neighborhoods around there as well as Newport Landing. Third, we had in TIF 3, the commission approved the incentive to initiate construction. TIF 3, by the way, is the Thomas Rose Industrial Park. The construction of a 150,000 square foot speculative building. So this is a multi-tenant industrial building that can accommodate different size tenants. That building sits on 23 acres. It's under construction right now with Schaffner Construction Company. And it is expandable to 300,000 square feet and is slated for completion this summer, late this summer. So that concludes the 3 major projects in 2020. I do want to say thank you for LEAP's participation and all the efforts to attract these companies to LaPorte and create these incentives with the Redevelopment Commission. And look forward to more in 2021.
Thank you, Tom, and also Bert Cook. I think you can hear us. Great job $80 million of capital investment in the city of LaPorte, one of the largest ever during a global pandemic. So Bert, thank you, and Mr. Casey for moving LaPorte forward.
Sure, Bert, I forgot to mention your name. I apologize about that. Thanks, Bert.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Casey or Mr. Cook? Councilwoman Cutler.
Your Honor, I move to introduce an ordinance read for the second time by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Cutler.
An ordinance of the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, annexing to and bringing within the city limits of LaPorte, Indiana, and amending the zoning ordinance for property located in Pleasant Township, contiguous herewith.
Discussion. If I could, during discussion, Mr. Cook, if you want to give a very brief summary of what we're doing here, because annexation has been something we've discussed since day one. It's a priority for the city of LaPorte. And Mr. Cook, if you want to discuss this portion of the bill.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and I think the council is very aware, but just in summary for those that maybe haven't heard, this is 215 acres that we would potentially be annexing in along the southern boundary of the city of LaPorte. Rhoda Farms is the name of the property. The property owner is very excited about the opportunity to be annexed, and I think we as a city are also just as excited to grow our community and provide for new opportunities. So we have a process. Nick Otis can tell us a little bit about the process, but we are moving through that process, which was started at our last council meeting, and we'll continue down that path. Thank you.
Mr. Otis, anything to add about the process?
No, we'll have the fiscal plan at the next meeting as well.
Further council discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Councilwoman Cutler,
Yes.
a motion.
Yes, a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
We have a motion and there's a third. We do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0, and thank you again, Mr. Barr. This is a great addition to the city of LaPorte, and we're looking forward to more. Councilwoman West.
Your Honor, I move to read an ordinance for the second time by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman West.
An ordinance to amend Article 19 of the zoning ordinance number 13-2017 of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, as enacted August 17th, 2017, and which is a part of Chapter 82 of the Municipal Code of the City of LaPorte, Indiana.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? And I just would like to reiterate, this is Mr. Casey, if you'd like to come to the microphone and just briefly discuss. This is a major change to the future of signs in the city of LaPorte.
Sure, thanks, Mayor. In short, this amendment to the sign ordinance accomplishes four things. First thing, it's going to eliminate any new billboards in the city of LaPorte, so billboards will not be permissible. Secondly, all new signage will be limited to 9 feet in height. Any temporary signage will be monitored more closely, and will be eliminating the amount of time period that a temporary sign can be installed in front of a business. And then lastly, any vacant business signage that has been left up will need to be removed by the owner. And then that new signage, when a new business comes in, will revert to the 9-foot maximum height level. So really the goal is to bring everything down to a 9-foot level and make LaPorte a much more appealing view to the eye.
And again, one reminder, though, is if somebody puts a flag with profanity, a sign with profanity on their house, we get many calls for this,
Don't
We
look
do,
at me.
we do not have authority to have that homeowner remove that. We do not have the legal right.
Correct.
First Amendment right protects them, and so I know people would like us to take those down, and we do not have that authority, so. So I do have a motion, and I do have a second discussion. Any comments from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Mr. Vincent? I don't think I heard Councilman Vincent.
I think I'm back. Sorry, was there a motion made there at the
A
end?
motion to approve the sign ordinance?
Yeah, I support that.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Nice work, Mr. Casey. Council, are we gonna move from
If he can read it, he's fine.
Councilman Vincent?
Can he read, or does he need to read?
Yes.
Introduction of an ordinance?
This can be read by title only, too. Do you have it in front of you, Councilman Vincent? If not, we can have it.
We can ask if you've got, because he's got wavering communication right now. Can I move that to title only by Councilwoman Cutler?
Sure, Your Honor, I move to introduce an ordinance read for the first time by title only.
Second.
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second discussion. Mr. Otis, if you would explain what we're trying to do here.
I need to
gotta
read the
read it.
title.
Oh, I thought you did. Yes, go ahead, Councilwoman
Thank
Keller.
you. An ordinance to vacate a portion of K Street from 23rd Street to 24th Street in the city of LaPorte, Indiana. End of title.
Thank you. Council, we've had a petition filed by Sylvia Espinoza and Timothy Ludlow. We previously had that before you, I think over a month ago now. Had the public hearing at the last meeting, and now introduction of the ordinance. Ms. Espinoza, I see, is here tonight. And just, again, the reason for this is there was never a street developed on this. If you went out there, you would see that it's literally grass. And I think this will just clear it up for the property owners out there. Sylvia, I don't know if you want to add anything, but as I understand it, all the adjacent owners are accepting of this, because when you remove a street, you partition it right down the middle, so owners on both sides take ownership of it.
Would,
I don't know. No. So,
Ms. Espinoza, would you like to add anything?
oh, she's muted.
Okay,
Ms. Espinoza, I'm sorry, could you start over or begin again, please?
The street has never been developed, and our property abuts that street, and we've developed it. I mean, we've cleaned it up. We just like to be able to claim the property.
And Ms. Espinoza, you've taken care of it. You and the adjacent owners have always taken care of this.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
We chat further.
We actually had a meeting in December, and then there was another one, a couple weeks ago.
Yep. Yep. So, there's no utilities under this. We confirm that with water and sewer as well. So.
Discussion? Hearing none, we will go ahead and move this to the next meeting in April for a final vote. Councilwoman Konechny.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to introduce an ordinance for the first time, read in its entirety.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Councilwoman Konechny.
An ordinance creating Fund Number 176 to create an ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund to receive funding awarded to the City of LaPorte through the American Rescue Plan Act ARP of 2021. Whereas the federal government has recently enacted the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, hereinafter referred to as ARP, as a result of which the city of LaPorte, Indiana, is anticipating receiving approximately $11.7 million in federal government assistance as the result of the financial impacts the city has sustained from COVID-19. And whereas on March 18th, 2021, the Indiana State Board of Accounts, hereinafter referred to as SBOA, issued State Examiner Directive 2021-1 and memorandum to Indiana counties, cities, and towns regarding the accounting process for the ARP funding. And whereas pursuant to the aforementioned SBOA guidance, each unit of government that receives an allocation from the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund under Section 603 of the Social Security Act, as added by Section 9901 of the ARP, shall establish by ordinance a separate grant fund to receive ARP funding. And whereas the need exists to now establish an ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund for the city to receive ARP and to comply with the aforementioned directives recently issued by SBOA. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that Fund 176 be created to read as follows. Fund 176, ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. There is hereby created an American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, which shall be known as ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. All monies received from the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund must be receipted into the fund. In accordance with Section 603C of the Social Security Act, as added by Section 9901 of the ARP, the monies in this fund may only be used for the following purposes. Number 1, use of funds, subject to paragraph 2, and except as provided in paragraphs 3 and 4, a metropolitan city, non-entitlement unit of local government, or county shall only use the funds provided under a payment under this section to cover costs incurred by the metropolitan city, non-entitlement unit of local government, or county by December 31st, 2024. Subsect A, to respond to the public health emergency with respect to the coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, or its negative economic impacts, including assistance to households, small businesses, and nonprofits, or to aid to impacted industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. Subsect B, to respond to workers performing essential work during the COVID-19 public health emergency by providing premium pay to eligible workers of the metropolitan city, non-entitlement unit of local government, or county that are performing such essential work, or by providing grants to eligible employers that have eligible workers who perform essential work. Subsect C, for the provision of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue of such metropolitan city, non-entitlement unit of local government, or county due to the COVID-19 public health emergency relative to revenues collected in the most recent full fiscal year of the metropolitan city, non-entitlement unit of local government, or county prior to the emergency, or subsect D, to make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. The city, by and through the mayor and the common council, shall develop a plan that will provide the specific details for the use of these funds in compliance with the above stated limitations, which will be formally adopted by the means of a resolution of the council approved by the mayor. Before money in this fund is dispersed pursuant to said plan, the money in the fund must be appropriated for the purposes stated in the plan.
Thank you. Discussion, I'd like to have Clerk Treasurer Parthun speak to this.
Sure. This is the first step in, as you can see, a couple steps that we will take. It's just creating fund, which will be called Fund Number 176, to create the American Rescue Plan for the funds allocated for our area.
Thank you. I'd also like to just remind everybody, we had Center Township here today requesting funds. We've had many other entities requesting funds. And as you look, just to give you a comparison, item D, to make necessary investments in water and sewer, that alone, not including broadband infrastructure, is $100 million. You've seen the sinkholes. We've shared with you the broken pipes, the broken valves. And the extent of work that has to be done in the city of LaPorte is, after the first bond, it's still estimated at $80 million. That's one example on D here, with C and B and A to still go over it. But that's how far behind we are with infrastructure and all the other items here in the city. So as we talk about that, keep that in mind. Any further discussion on this? We will move this then to approval on the second meeting in April. Councilman Galloway.
Your Honor, I'd like to introduce a resolution for transfer of funds.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Councilman Galloway.
Whereas there are additional monies needed in certain line items in the 2021 budgets in order to pay for essential services and obligations. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Common Council of City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following transfers be made within the following budgets for the year 2021. General, engineering from 312 engineering services to 111 salaries, $10,000. Code enforcement from 111 salaries to engineering 111 salaries, that's code enforcement, for $30,000.
Thank you. Discussion, and just to clarify, this was to create Kevin Tracy in the engineering department's position. We had originally had a fourth, if you remember, the original budget for 2021 had 4 code enforcement officers, and we moved one of the pays for that officer into engineering because, again, you see the development, you see the work, that $80 million of capital investment, the need for basically one person, how it's been with Nick Minnick, needed support, needed that help. So this gives, along with Sarah Nimitz, additional help to the engineering department. Because this is a resolution, this can be voted on this evening. So is there any further discussion? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Other business. I would just like to encourage everybody. Our numbers have gone back up. The opportunity to be vaccinated in the city of LaPorte is out there, available, and we would encourage all family members. Let's get past this. Let's move forward. And if anybody needs help being vaccinated, finding a connection to get you signed up, we'll make that happen. Just please call myself, call City Hall. And I think the last number I heard, we were at 15% of our county vaccinated. I'm sure the number's gone up since then. But people talk about herd immunity and so forth. And I think for that to happen, it had to be close to 80% vaccinated in our community. So I hope we can continue to press forward. The Healthcare Foundation, as this is a top priority for them to help everybody be vaccinated. So continue, please. We want to help everybody that we can. Any further discussion or other business? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.